Butch was always a dreamer, but he lived his dream. As a boy, he would take things apart just to see how they worked. And if he couldn't get them back together again, he didn't get angry. He'd hum. Remember the humming? As a teenager, while most boys were playing ball or out dating girls, he'd be flying model airplanes. Later on, he'd fix anything from player pianos to jet engines. My first plane ride with Butch was over Fox Lake, and he was dipping his wings, and he said, "Hang on, we're going to roll." And I said, "Don't you dare, you land me." The next time I flew with him was over Eagle River, Wisconsin. It's in the northern area. It has many lakes. He was more mature, and I was very relaxed. Mom and Dad and Art and I went to Wichita Falls, Texas for a graduation. When we arrived, it was 110 degrees, and we left our footprints in the blacktop going to headquarters. Still, he couldn't wait to show us his barracks, the hangars, and mostly the planes that he was working on. Oh, how proud he was. Afterwards, we drove into Oklahoma to a state park, and we stayed in a log cabin beside a lake for a couple of days, and it was very peaceful. He called it his R&R, rest and relaxation. He did a lot of swimming and sleeping and visiting. Then he was off to Anchorage, Alaska, Maine, back home, out to California, then over back to Milwaukee, then he went over to Iran in the Middle East. Why, he saw parts of the world that none of us will ever see. Having survived nearly 7 years of chemotherapy and radiation, I knew the agony that Butch was going through. But God chose me to live and him to die. Why? We don't know. We don't know the answer. When I was a young girl, I'd lie down under the lilac bush at the farm, and I'd watch the birds fly and wish I was one of them. Or I'd climb up the tallest fir tree on our front lawn and look over all the countryside and wish I could float. I was a dreamer too, but Butch flew. We salute you, Butch. Until we meet again, God be with you as you soar into the blue yonder.